That is why you're seeing the equity markets rally across the board, and we're also seeing gold pop, Bitcoin pop. Eventually, a dropping dollar will not be bullish for the markets. Right now it is. And again, what that means is we're in a recession that is probably a global recession, with the Fed unlikely to print us out because, again, inflation, yes, it's coming down. But again, think about it like this. This is probably one of the better CPIs we'll get over the next few months. I think it's going to get a little bit harder. But until that, that's actually a bearish sign on the charts. If it breaks 27,000 to the downside, now you're talking to 24 to 25,000. And that's really what we want to do. That is a top signal on Bitcoin intraday. Now, would I short it? No, because it's already pulled back, right? Holy cow, we got a CPI number today that was epic in terms of the market reaction. Now, ultimately, if you look at the CPI data, it came in slightly better than expected. I think the biggest thing today, if we flip over to my screen here, what we can see is U.S. consumer price inflation cooled to its lowest annual rate in 2 years in April. The market had expected basically a 5 handle on the consumer inflation number, right? The CPI data. The fact that it came in at 4.9, it puts that psychological 4% number in front. That is why you're seeing the equity markets rally across the board, and we're also seeing gold pop, Bitcoin pop. Stocks, like I just mentioned, are all getting a bid, and the dollar is diving. Why is the dollar dropping when there's less inflation? It's dropping because the lower inflation goes, the more likely the market is factoring in that the Federal Reserve can print more money later on. Because inflation is low, they can print more later when we get in a recession, which again, folks, I've said this to you guys, I'm going to say it again. I am going on record saying that by the end of this year, we will be in a recession. I think it's fourth quarter, but again, it's coming. Look at this collapse in the dollar. That is an amazing drop right there. So again, the dollar on the back of this CPI data, which was better than expected, meaning lower inflation, took a nosedive here, and down we go. Now, if we look at the chart, this is not a surprise, right? We look at a chart of the dollar, and we can clearly see that we were hovering below a wedge pattern. All right, now a wedge pattern is basically consolidation, meaning that we stayed within this high and these lows, and we went sideways with chop. We then broke lower. Now, if we go and zoom into this period right here, what we can see, and this is very cool, guys, notice how we closed below on the DXY right here, and we never confirmed. What happens? The dollar rallies up. Then we come down again, we close below and confirm. Based on this chart, we likely will see a breakdown. And I want to put another trend line on the chart right here. So take a look right here. Put this trend line here. Look at where we're coming down to. Notice pivot low, we kind of kissed over here. This is your support level at 100.82 on the DXY. I expect within a few weeks that will be broken and we will see this going lower. That's going to be bullish for gold. It's going to be bullish for metals overall. Whether or not it will be bullish for the stock market is another story. Eventually, a dropping dollar will not be bullish for the markets. Right now it is. You guys know I continue to be a long-term bull in gold. Gold shot up this morning. It is starting to pull back just a little bit. Now again, what could be the cause? If the dollar's at the lows, why is gold popping? Number one, well, the dollar pulled back, so we know it trades inverse. But why is it pulling back here when you still see the S&P at the highs? And the answer is very simple. The gold trade is also a fear trade. And right now there is less fear in the markets today at this point following the CPI data than there was yesterday or even before the CPI data. So again, while gold will ultimately go higher, I continue to be a huge bull. You'll see weird disparities on this where gold maybe doesn't get as big of a move when the stock market's also rallying when the dollar's falling. I still think you could see a pullback to the low 1900s over the next month or so on gold, but ultimately, folks, this is going to break out. I continue to be an epically big bull on gold, and again, the double top is now a triple top. We just hit that since my last game plan last week. We hit the triple top. There you see it, pivot high to pivot high to pivot high, and again, that looks to be a level. I think by third quarter of 2023 here. So within a month or two or a couple months, I do think gold breaks out. $2,300 price target is what I have on it into year end. I think by 2024, oil is below $50 a barrel, folks. And again, what that means is we're in a recession that is probably a global recession, with the Fed unlikely to print us out because, again, inflation, yes, it's coming down. But again, think about it like this. The way I view inflation is that if you're overweight, you know, if I'm just, let's say I haven't worked out in a year and I've gained some weight. The first few pounds that I lose, easy, right? You know, I go to the gym a little, start moving around, that weight just comes right off. It's that last little bit, that from 4% down to 3, down to 2, that last little bit to get your chiseled six-pack that is so freaking hard to do. I think we can all relate to that in some way, in some form. And again, I think that's a good analysis of what inflation is going to be like. So this is probably one of the better CPIs we'll get over the next few months. I think it's going to get a little bit harder. So we did see a pop on the CPI data, but you know what candle formation this is right here? Look at this. All right, and I know those of you that I've trained, and I've trained a lot of people in my career. The Winning Trader Series continues to train people every single day. All right, but again, this move up right here, that's a topping tail. That is a top signal on Bitcoin intraday. Now, would I short it? No, because it's already pulled back, right? So you're already down from 28,330. You're already down to 28,100 now. So I'm not going to chase that short, but just for a technical bias, that is now a topping tail. A topping tail is a reversal signal in a chart that when it appears, it tells me, okay, guys, that might be a short-term top on the intraday. The way it's negated, if it closes above that, then it starts meaning that the chart can go higher. But until that, that's actually a bearish sign on the charts. We're still stuck in a range here. 30,500. This is a level that I literally gave months ago that I thought it could get to as my max upside. And then if we zoom in, it's a $27,000 handle right down here. All right, so that's your range right there, 27,000 to 30,500. Now, the reason you have a range, by the way, in a chart is so that you know when it breaks one way or the other. So again, if it breaks 30,500, guess what? It's probably going to 33 to 34,000. If it breaks 27,000 to the downside, now you're talking to 24 to 25,000. And that's really what we want to do. ETH is holding this underbelly trend line right here. That's still holding support, but if that breaks, you're headed down to about 1,700 on ETH. So again, these are different charts. And by the way, whatever happened to that altcoin season that everyone was talking about, sure, you got the meme coins to run, all that crap, but honestly, look at this chart of Matic. I mean, is this an ugly chart or what? But you know what? Every ugly chart, there's a buy level for me. Just like every crazy surge chart, there's a short level. I buy support and I sell or short resistance. That mentality, never fall in love with a stock, never fall in love with a crypto. So many people do, and then you know what? They're buying Dogecoin at 40 cents. Where is it now? They're buying Tesla when it was at its highs. Where is it now? Don't fall in love with a stock or crypto, because I'll tell you one thing, it's not going to love you back.